Hey hoes, my name's Crit.
I'm Tia.
I'm Michael.
And welcome to Island Fever, where grown Pacifica people talk about doing grown-ass things. And we're back with this episode, and we're answering the age-old question, what is love?
Yeah, we're going to answer.
Do you know that song? Am I too old?
No.
Okay. You know, I feel like Michael's
dying.
I feel like you'd be raging to that song.
my go-to.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like skate rink stuff.
You know how to skate?
Not at the Roxbury.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cut it out. But like, what is love? And a lot of the ways that we learn love is through our parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you're really going to get to know us because we're going to talk about how we were conceived. Like, how did our parents come together? We're not going to go into positions. Michael, I know that's one of your favorites. But we'll really get into how we learned love through the people who, you know, we're closest to. So before we get into that, though, our Baywatch is going to be a movie that kind of flashes back, and I'll let you talk about it. Michael, what's our movie that we're talking about for Baywatch?
Our movie today is Definitely Maybe, and I personally loved it. It's about Ryan Reynolds, a man named Will, who is talking to his daughter, and she asks him how her mother and he met. And so he dives into this intricate story defining 3 relationships that he had, and he keeps the names hidden, so the whole movie's a mystery, and we're wondering, along with Maya, who is her mother. So.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts? How did you feel about it?
It was an interesting movie for me. I think that it is an interesting take on a rom-com. I don't think that it's structurally like the greatest rom-com. There's a lot of twists and turns, and it's hella long. It's like 2 hours long. It should be like 90 minutes. He really is like delving into this story. I thought it was good because there were twists and turns. When watching it, you think it's going to go this way. We were like guessing the entire time.
Structurally, what was wrong with it?
Because it's Ryan Reynolds and he's such a like physical comedy guy, I feel like they just set up scenes for him to do these like shticks.
Yeah.
And it just took up so much time. Like we were so much like unnecessary like storytelling in the political office with the friends where there's already 3 stories that we have to get through and you still need that intrigue, but there's just so many little bits that I think took up like 5 minutes of time, and it was a 2-hour long movie when really we want to know like I'd rather stay with like each relationship and watch the yearning happen and build that tension and stuff. I think when we go away from that and lean heavy into the comedy, because I think that's really the only comedic part about it is that he's doing these like physical bits, or like he has the toilet paper in the office, or he's like yelling at the office. Like there was just too much of the political Bill Clinton campaign.
Yeah, that was wild to me.
Yeah. Which I always think is so funny. Like people try to establish time in the 90s and it's oftentimes like Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Like it's just
he
like,
defines Monica Lewinsky especially.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, like this is set in the 90s and we're flashing back so that the audience can know that we're in the 90s.
Yeah.
Bill Clinton. Like there was a horror movie this summer, Longlegs, and it needed to establish that
it was
like,
set in the 90s.
Yeah, and there was just like a portrait of Bill Clinton on the wall.
Yeah.
It's like, so you can know. It's just like stupid stuff like that where it's like you think the audience isn't smart enough to know that this is in the 90s and we're flashing back, obviously.
Yeah.
It was cute. It was surprising. I think I was a little more I was surprised by, I was telling Michael, like, oh, this is just a typical, like, manic pixie dream girl character. She's so quirky, and she's here to, like, open up his eyes, and she's not deep. She's one-dimensional. And then you were like, she's got layers.
What? Who's got layers?
Summer?
No,
April.
Are we getting confused by the names because he switches them out? Is that what?
Yeah, no, I'm
right
talking about April.
Okay.
I'm talking about the redhead.
April, whose name wasn't changed, to be clear.
Wasn't
Correct.
changed,
Did
yes.
you have were you attracted to one of the three options in particular, Michael, or was there one you were drawn to, or you felt was like more appealing?
Well, I told this to Tia while we were watching it. April was an interesting character, especially watching it with Tia, because right when she came on the scene and we get to her apartment and we see the books and
Oh, you felt like you were in Tia's apartment when you went to April's?
I laughed.
He was
I pointed at Tia
No.
because she said a comment like, "Oh, this is the classic pixie crazy girl," or wait, how'd you say it?
Manic pixie
Manic
dream girl.
pixie girl. Anyway, I look at her and I'm like, that's wild you say that because this reminds me of you.
No, that tracks. See,
She's
I wasn't even
smoking
watching with y'all,
cigarettes.
and I can fucking.
She's
speak
and
to
then
that.
it just she kept doing things, and then he was just like, "Oh, you literally just said that," and I was like, "Oh God, this is."
You
and then he
literally
was
just had a
reading
cigarette.
me
You
for-
literally just
yeah, no, like or
Oh,
what was
we
she
went out to
saying?
dinner last night and you were saying that you like the feeling of a man wanting you and you turn him down. It gives you a feeling of power, kind of turns you on.
She said
And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. And then in this movie, after I already said, I think this character is you,
And I
sure
was like, no,
enough,
it's
she
not.
says that
Yeah,
exact
yeah,
same
yeah.
thing. And I look at her, we just look at each other and laugh. And I was like, that's sad.
I was surprised that she was the pick. I didn't think that she was going to be the wife.
Yeah.
I don't know what's that saying about me and my psychology of myself,
Well, she wasn't the wife. Yeah.
or the
The ultimate. The
ultimate-
Are we
yeah.
spoiling this? Or are we
That's
assuming-
fine, like-
Oh, okay.
I would assume that they would.
This movie's been out since 2008. If you haven't
Yeah.
watched it yet, like
Yeah.
that's on
Still
you.
worth the watch, even with the
Ye-
spoilers
yeah.
if you haven't seen
Well, in Michael's opinion, it's worth
Right,
the
in my
watch.
opinion.
But,
Yeah.
well, what did you like about it then?
I liked the complexities. I liked that it was long. I think it had to be long to show what's going on in his life and how, in real life, there are just times when it might be someone we really like, but the timing just isn't right for whatever reason. Even when he came back to April and realized he made a mistake, he was going through his trash stage. He was a mess. And leans in for a kiss, and she's like, "Get out of here! This isn't right." So
She
once
slapped
again,
him.
the timing wasn't right. And you sometimes I think that's how life. I thought that's why the movie was so beautiful because it reminds me of myself, where you watch Will learn and grow through different relationships and go through different stages of his life. He starts off in the bottom of this company where he's a toilet paper man, and then he starts working hard and starts to advance his career. Has to learn a little bit more about himself and how he is in relationships, and makes all the mistakes that he needs to humble himself in relationships. And finally, after all that journey, he comes to April and
Is ready.
is ready.
I don't know,
Yeah.
but like it took his daughter to really push him though. That's the thing that I was like, come on, Will, like
Yeah.
your little girl had to fucking
But
literally
that's
kick your ass.
I think daughters really change men.
You know?
And I think that's a good thing. Like it's good to see like an active single dad. But
I
I
think,
think-
that too. Sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah,
cut you
no,
off.
you're
Go ahead.
fine. Or I was just gonna say, like, I know my dad has changed because he had
Because of
a
you.
daughter. Yeah,
Yeah.
because he had a daughter, and like, I think that's a cute thing for the daughter to be like, I really want. Because at the beginning, she's like, she's hoping that the story will bring her parents back
Yeah.
together, and then she realizes like, oh, my dad had this like great love, and like he deserves that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do think it takes a daughter or a woman, understanding a woman
To get him to really
Yeah.
know how to act
Mhm.
as far as approaching a
Mhm.
woman, right?
He's like the girls call him fully cooked. Like, you want a cooked man, which means unfortunately a man that's already been like in relationships. And I always say
is
that.
what that means?
I always say that. I always say like, I want my man to be cooked. Like, I don't want to do the work.
Right.
Like he can
Mhm.
already be like,
Like he's made those mistakes with someone else. Like
yes,
or the
and
yeah.
like, yeah. But I don't want to be that. I don't want to do the labor.
Yeah.
I just want to benefit off of some other woman's work.
And in that same sense, I wonder how many men have benefited from their relationship with you,
Yeah.
and maybe have been cooked a little bit from that
Yes.
time.
Yeah. I'm
period.
not
Right,
saying
you've
that
done
I
all the
haven't
work
cooked.
to-
Yes. Yeah.
to put them in a good place,
For
and then
sure.
someone else
Mhm.
benefits from it, right?
Yeah. It's a cycle.
Yeah.
We're helping each other out. But yeah, like I want a fully cooked man. I don't want like a
Yeah.
man straight off the streets.
Yeah. Straight
Like-
out the pan.
No.
What was I gonna say? So the whole reason we picked this movie was because we get to see how a couple met, right? Like how
Yeah.
her parents met. And so for me, from that end, as far as taking away what the little girl learned about love from Will or Ryan
Mhm.
Reynolds and all these three different women, I I don't know. It was almost like, you know, you see kids kind of raising themselves. It kind of felt like that quite a bit.
She was like the most grounded, like sense, like the reason of the entire thing. Like she was the heart of the movie.
Yeah.
And it was really cute. Also, like when I was feeling like, what the hell is happening? It would cut back to her being like, what is going on?
Right, exactly. Like she is the voice of reason.
Yes.
I love that scene when she's pacing.
Yeah.
And you're like,
she's stressed out about her dad's damn choices. Because I was stressed out too. I was like, what the fuck?
Or
what did she say? Even though and that you're a hoe, or
she said
even though you smoke and drink and you're a slut.
Yes.
I still love you.
That moment was so good. Yeah, I still love you.
Yeah.
Damn, she called her dad a
but
slut.
also another moment of like softening him.
Yes.
And it's okay to love yourself. You are okay to be in a relationship. I don't know.
Yeah.
I did like, so this was in 2008, but it starred people who their careers kind of took off in the 90s. So for me, like Ryan Reynolds, I know y'all are a lot younger than me, but like
not by that
two guys who go on a pizza place, that was my shit growing up. Like that was a sitcom that used to come on every day at like 5 o'clock in New Zealand.
Is it Canadian? Because he's Canadian?
He is Canadian, but I don't think the show is.
Okay, because I like don't know that. And I'm wondering if it's Canadian and you just got it because
New
of the
Zealand?
Commonwealth.
Like UK, Commonwealth.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Is it in New Zealand? You can only tune into Commonwealth.
Yeah.
I don't know. Ryan Reynolds did a show.
Yeah, it was on for years, but that's how I know him, is through that comedy kind of rom-com situation.
Yeah.
But it also had Rachel Weisz, and I know this is problematic, but I love The Mummy. Like that movie is my shit.
Problematic?
How is it problematic? All these white people playing.
Oh yeah, okay, sorry. Oh my god, not deprogrammed.
No, but it is a good fucking film,
it's
right?
so hot.
And then you have Brian Fraser coming in to save the day, who's white as fuck, but
and hot as fuck.
He was. Is he a?
He killed that role.
Brendan
he did.
Fraser.
Like I love
So
The
good.
Mummy. I'm sorry to all my Arab people out there, but like that is my shit. My family watch it every Christmas. The Mummy and Fifth Element. Don't ask me why.
Oh, Fifth Element, so good.
I know another.
Oh
Let's
my
do
God.
Fifth Element too.
Yeah,
but anyway,
okay.
I digress. So Rachel Weisz from The Mummy, like I love seeing her in any movie. I think she's a great actress.
She's beautiful.
I did not necessarily like her in this film as Summer. Emily was a little messy, but I understood why. She basically pushed him into having an affair, and then she fucked his best friend. So like. Yeah, she was messy, but it's because she was self-sabotaging. And then she came back around. But yeah, April, from the moment I saw her, I liked her because, of course, he's forcing her. He's very much white liberal. Like, he's Bill Clinton's going to do this for African Americans. He's going to do this for women. So what are you, a Republican or a
Democrat.
liberal?
Yeah.
Or a Democrat? And she's like, why do I have to be one of those? Like, these people don't give a shit about me anyway. And I was just like, yes, girl. Like,
I think from that dialogue on, I was triggered by her. I was like,
it was just a reflection, like a mirror.
yeah,
I liked that pushback with them though.
Yeah.
And her saying that this is me standing my ground. He's like, you have to pick a side.
Right.
She said, well, this is the side I'm picking.
Exactly. And then she ended up being right. Bill Clinton's ass was out, like all the things that he said, he knows women so well and all that shit. And she's like, yeah, I bet he does. And then what?
Not love.
Exactly. Humidity scale, Tia.
Yeah, I'm like very mid on this, like just a humid day. Very like 50%.
Yeah.
Humidity.
Yep.
Oh yeah, look, we're getting like now we're
Getting
understanding
very,
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was good because it's breaking all these traditional. I think what it's trying to do, which I don't think it really gets in, like if I was reading this as a script, I would be like, this is a first draft, like let's cut down to the juice of it. But I did like the twists and turns, and I was surprised by it, which rarely happens.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you're wrong. And then he was right about the whole entire movie. I was like, fuck. Okay. Yeah. I guess I was just triggered by seeing the little redhead.
Yeah.
Artsy girl.
AKA you.
Smoking
AKA,
cigarettes.
yeah, you're
Smoking American spirits.
I know.
even the
$4.50.
cigarettes.
Fuck.
I know in the way they were smoking, like, I'm going to.
And she's like, I'm going to bet you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she's like, oh, you can keep your money. I just wanted to be right. I was like, okay.
Very you. Yeah, very much you. But also, fuck, I was so glad when she slapped his ass. Like,
Yeah,
I was
me
like,
too.
girl,
'Cause I
I'm
would
glad
do
she didn't
that.
let him off without any kind of Like she fucking got him. Not once, but twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck you, girl. I was like, good for you. I would have fucking slept his
I
ass
also,
too.
in that scene, I was like, this would happen to me.
Yeah.
Like, for sure would happen to me, where it would be like, I love you. And then I'd be like, what the fuck? And then you need to go to rehab.
No, like I could see a guy like trying to insult you, like really fucking get under your skin by saying something. Well, at least I tried. What about you? Like you're fucking like
literally.
that is something that again a fucking corporate little cunt would say to a creative, you know, to like really.
Yeah, but the book thing was really cute to me.
But you know what?
I agree.
This is another reason why I liked April, because she didn't let him off the hook again.
Yeah,
because he took years to fucking give her that book. Like I would have slept his ass twice again. Like
yeah, but you liked that. You liked that line he used.
Which line?
He said, it was like I kept it because
It was
this was the only thing I had of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Romantic.
Oh my
Loved
god.
it.
Oh my
Loved
god. You want to go?
Yeah, so my rating for this movie on the humidity scale, it's hot. I really, really liked it. I agree with you, Tia, that there's a lot of fluff that could have been cleaned out, could have been shortened a little bit. However, I also see that it all kind of came together to tell this journey. So yeah, humidity, hot tropical storm,
Wet.
sweating in the garage gym.
Ew, super wet.
Sweet. All right. So you're hot and humid. This got you gushing, basically.
Yeah.
Gushing.
Yeah.
For me, I'm probably with you, Tia. Like damp. I'm feeling like I enjoyed it. I think again, it's because I enjoyed certain characters. I really liked April. I think it really is based on April alone that I really enjoyed the film through her eyes and through basically she held him accountable. She didn't let him get away with anything. And I appreciate that about relationships where you don't just let things come over. Like he had to atone for his bullshit, you know, and she made him work for it.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, he did show up. I mean, it did take his daughter to kind of, you know, kick him out the door, which I didn't really like about him. But, you know, she knew what she wanted at the end. And so she was able to be like, oh, you know what? You're trying, so I'm going to meet you there. So who knows if they stay together? I don't know, because, you know, he is a little flaky.
The recession hit the next year, so I don't know.
Oh, God.
I agree, though. The April was so interesting from that dynamic of him saying that you need to pick a side to her actually being the most self-secure and confident person in who she was in that film.
Yeah. She was,
Yeah.
Oh, Tia's like taking this all personally. She's like, yeah, I am.
Well, I just wasn't expecting her to be the wife, but I think that's me.
Yeah. Well, again, going back to like some of the beliefs you might be holding about what a wife looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now let's talk about
internalized misogyny.
So let's get into that. Let's move into what's wrong with us. And you know, I want to start with you, Tia. Like going back to how we've learned what love is. And I guess, do you want to start there? Like why? Yeah. Where did you learn that this is what a wife looks like, and this is why you might not necessarily fit that mold?
My mom is like everything. So she's like spent a period of time as a stay-at-home mom while my dad was working. Like they made that choice. Like she was always like very like, that was a choice we made. That wasn't like me having to step away. But she always had a job. And she always told me that I could do anything. She also was divorced. So I have like 2 love stories in my brain at all times that I think fucks with my mentality of what like a wife is supposed to be.
Yeah.
But I also know what my mom gave me was the power to just like walk away and that you're never stuck in any situation. So I just don't really like think about marriage. I think she says this in the movies. Like she's like, marriage is just not a. I don't think that they got married. Like if we're gonna like check in on them in 10 years,
oh
they're
no,
like,
I don't think so either.
They're just dating or they're just like partners.
Even though she asked them to kneel to propose, and then she fucking goes in on marriage as a constitution.
Yes.
And then she's basically like, you should have fucking knelt.
Also, like in that scene, she's being really sarcastic.
Exactly.
And he's like, it's like when you're trying to tell me to be a nice person. But he's like, why do you talk like that?
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. I don't know. I just wasn't expecting it to be her.
Mm-hmm.
Just in the structure of the film. But yeah, I have like 2 different love stories. Like my mom got a divorce. She walked away. She left my dad. And in a foreign country with a like 2-year-old daughter with like no foundation, and she was able to do that and like reset her life. And then she has a beautiful relationship with my dad who raised me. But my dad is like a hard ass. There's like no like what you think of like typical romance. He's not doing that. He's not bringing home flowers. He's not like, they over communicate. You think sometimes they're yelling at each, like every morning coffee I like wake up and I'm like, are you guys fighting? And they're like, no, we're discussing things. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Do you like each other? They have this like, they're each other's best friends. They over communicate, are so fucking honest with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad's like idea of romance, which I think is romantic, is he's just the most stable person.
Yeah.
And they're such a good team together. And whereas I think my mom had like a traditional like romantic escapade with my father.
Yeah.
Like she met him in Greece when she was a
Like
nanny.
swept off her feet.
Like
kinda.
swept off her feet. He was like an American Air Force guy. They met in Athens. She was like working for this rich
Oh, he was in
shipping.
a uniform then? Or?
He was in the uniform,
shit.
yeah. And my grandma was like, whatever you do, don't date the American Air Force men.
Yeah.
And she married him at 21.
Yeah.
And then they moved to California. And then shortly after, she was by herself and a single mom and having to like raise me by herself. And so she had this, what would seem like this sweeping romance. And then with my dad, she was set up on a blind date.
Yeah.
She was like, always tells me, I was like so honest. Like I have a daughter. She's my number 1 priority.
Yeah.
Which that has changed. I always am like, wow.
Cut it out, Tia. Your mom would not agree.
No, like my dad and her like are such a team that I'm like, oh well, look at who's your number 1 priority. I could never say anything bad about my dad and like vice versa.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were set up on a blind date. She was like, I'm just going to get dinner. I'm not doing anything else.
Mm-hmm.
She was super honest with him. And I think, yeah, my mom just was like in a headspace where my dad was also like a little bit, he's not going to like this, but a little bit of a fuck boy.
Yeah.
And she like locked that shit down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just have different.
So not as fantastical, but
not at all.
Very much.
Like I could think of like 5 times he brought her home flowers and it was like done in a very sarcastic way.
Well, do you want flowers? Are you the type who? Yeah. So
No.
I mean, I guess that's
My mom has houses now. That's what I also think of. I was like,
yeah.
My dad's real stingy. We got food at home, but he's like set up a life for them that's like really stable.
That's usually why people have money, is because they don't flounder on.
It literally is like that. Yeah, I don't like romance. I like you to be there. Like you have to physically be there and like be there for me and like we're a team.
Yeah.
And I just haven't met anyone that like that partnership or that honesty and over communication is like
commitment.
Yeah, like I feel like sometimes I'm like fucked because my parents have like such a good relationship. And I'm just like, oh well, this is not ever gonna be where this is. And also my parents, like they're not judgmental, but they'll tell me.
But judgmental.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they'll be like, not that guy. Are you fucking kidding me? So I just don't bring people home.
Yeah.
That's hard though. Looking at your parents' relationship now and comparing that to a prospective partner.
I know.
It's hard to, it's apples to oranges. They've gone through so much together, so many years, you know, raising a child together. All those things made them who they are right now. I'm sure when they first started out, there was a lot that wasn't ironed out yet.
It's years in the making.
It's wild to think because my mom was 26 when she met my dad with a child and a little brown girl. And my dad was like 27 and was like, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like, I'll just raise this child with you.
Amazing.
But also,
what an amazing man.
We're kind of
the man that stepped up.
No, seriously.
Love that.
Yeah.
But we're also at ages where you kind of have to expect that your partner's going to have a kid or 2 or 3.
Yeah, actually, that's something to talk about. Because I think I'm like 21 years old mentally. Like, oh my God, that's so crazy that they would have a child. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, or somebody that's divorced.
Yeah.
Which I think I would be more open-minded about, but I'm kind of not.
Really?
No, it's just like I do want them cooked, but not that cooked. But
What
then I
is
sometimes think, oh, she would make me look less crazy.
But what's the hesitation of being with someone who's been married before and divorced?
I don't know. I think it's me just being like kind of prudish about it.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I would agree.
And I'm not saying that like anything that I say on this podcast is like probably outdated mindsets towards things that I'm trying to grow out of. Like
Was
I'm not
the man who raised you, was he previously married?
No, and he reminds my mom that every time. Or
Oh,
like all the time.
snap.
He goes, "When do I get my second marriage?"
Oh,
Yeah. And so he jokes, but he like I don't think that's like the love of his life.
Yeah.
I can tell. He's like a hard ass dude, but
Well, there's a great example, real life example for you of
I
someone
know.
who was married, your mom who was previously married,
yeah.
and look at their relationship. So,
I know.
But I think it's good that we, when we speak these things out, we have the awareness of, oh shit, I have this programming that being with someone who's a divorcee isn't a good look or whatever, and then it kind of forces you to reckon with that, right?
I also like understand blended families. Like you have to be ready
Open,
for
yeah.
that, and I don't know if I'm mature enough for that, because like my parents did their best,
Yeah.
but it was chaotic to
Yeah.
try to manage the two families, and it's just a lot of work. Not
Yeah.
saying that I couldn't like step up and do that if I found somebody and was in love with them and loved their kid too, like because my dad models that. But I know the energy and level of maturity that you need for that to work.
Yeah.
Co-parenting. I feel like our generation's better at co-parenting. Like I think there was divorce, but it's like I think the idea of co-parenting together is different now.
See, my mind didn't even go straight to kids being involved. I just thought divorcee first of all. Like, I think it's
that's fine. I think I'm fine with that. I think
it's
with
the
a
kids.
kid,
Yeah, that's different. That's what adds the layers of complication. Yeah,
because I was the kid,
yeah,
and that's most of my trauma is
Ooh.
between the families.
Yeah,
Is like I don't know if I could handle that. I
Yeah.
know what is not right and what's right. But it's difficult to do that. And my dad was great at stepping back and not stepping on my dad's toes, but then stepping in when it was
When I needed
necessary
to- when he needed
to step in and say like that's not acceptable and we're not dealing with that anymore. But I think it's more so that I would date a divorcee, whatever. That's
Yeah.
cool. All right.
as long as you got no kids. But
Yeah,
but you know,
But I don't want to judge that. I'm just saying like it
Yeah.
would take a long time for me to commit to that. And
Yeah.
like, do I have the space to commit to that? I wouldn't want to be part of a
it would have to make
child's
sense. Yeah,
like I would have to be like, do you have a relationship with this?
Mhm.
Like how is this dynamic working? I don't want to cut off anything. It's just I'm apprehensive of that.
Yeah.
It's not going to be it'll be a little bit of a red flag for me.
if a divorcee had kids, it's a red flag.
Just for myself.
Is,
Like,
is it a red
it-
flag or is it a let me
It's like
Let me,
a
like-
pause for me.
probe this a little further? Sort of. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, that
it's
makes
like
more sense.
I have to pause because
Yeah.
then it's like it would be like opening up a wound for me,
Yeah.
and like, am I ready to do that?
Yeah.
It would just be a pause.
Okay.
But yeah,
I was just gonna chime in real quick. As a
Mhm.
gay man,
Mhm.
like when I think about kids, I'm actually okay with the kid. Like for me,
Yeah.
because I don't know how the fuck
Right.
I'm
How
gonna
else that
get
would
one.
happen.
Yeah.
Oh right.
So
yeah.
I'm almost like, oh, that. I think I'm more open to the idea, whereas it wouldn't necessarily be oh shit. I think it's more like, oh well, let's see how this could kind of work in with my life.
I also
I
think
get that. If
oh,
I
yeah.
couldn't have children,
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
I would be very, very open to marrying someone who
Ooh.
had already had children.
I was like, I don't know if I want to talk about
I
this, but
Okay. Well, I just like I think because I came from like a family that was separated,
Yeah.
I have a mentality that I want the traditional nuclear
Yeah,
family. Like, I'm not going to deny that like is in my mind is like, I'm not going to get divorced and I want to have kids and I want to stay in that. But I'm open to whatever at this point because I'm older and I want kids. But I would like my own kids.
Yeah, of course.
And priorities maybe start to change.
Yeah.
And your preferences. And
Yeah.
so that priority of having someone who's never been married or never had children will maybe start to go down as you start to value more on the individual that you
and I think
is standing in front of you, and you start to get feelings for him.
Yeah.
Things
change when you're in love. Like
no, I know.
Everything.
I know. I'll be like, oh, that's fine. He has 8 baby mamas. It's good. I can be the 9th. But also, it's Nick Cannon.
Do you love how I said that? And I've never been in a real fucking relationship.
No, but I mean
change
that's
when you're in love.
But that's true. I believe that.
So true.
But like, also, like, I mean, we might talk about this in another episode. But like, I almost had a baby with my former.
Oh, really?
Like, we talked seriously about having a child together. Me and a former best friend, and thank God we didn't, because it would have just given what's happened over the last year, the breakdown of our relationship. But oh my God, like, I can't believe I was really seriously considering having a baby with someone.
I would consider having a baby with Sean. He just wouldn't raise it with me. He'd be like in and out. I've talked about that.
And you're okay with it?
What if I got pregnant? Would you help me raise it? He's like, no. I was like, you live in my building. What do you mean you wouldn't help me?
But, also he says that now, but like once the baby comes, like people, again, things change. Like people change.
He has nieces too. So I think he's like fulfilled in that way. But I was, he's my like, okay, we're 40.
Like,
and I want a baby.
My best friend's wedding, like very much that.
Yeah. And like, can you
let's watch that.
Yeah. I
do like them.
But yeah. What about your parents' love story?
How'd your parents meet? Yeah.
My parents met in Hawaii. My mom is 10 years younger than my dad.
Oh, damn.
Hot stuff.
At the time, my dad was this up-and-coming artist in Hawaii. So he was kind of the cool, mysterious, dark man, And my mom is from California, from a wealthier family. My dad was an immigrant from Samoa. Yeah. And when they met, my mom was still in school. And my dad was this old guy.
Wait, as in high school or studying?
Sorry, college.
Okay,
yeah. Studying at BYU University.
Just to clarify.
Just clarify that.
Yes. Anyway, my dad says that he knew that she was going to be the mother of his children immediately. He said he was walking around campus and he was going to go see a professor friend of his former professor and art buddy. And he could hear a girl arguing with this professor and just going off on him about why her piece was the certain way that it was. And he, before he even saw her, he was so intrigued, and he looked in and saw her and said, that's going to be my wife.
Because she was arguing?
Just that she was a strong, opinionated woman, and he just loved her.
This explains
cute.
So much why Michael's such a fucking romantic. Like, it's
that's
giving
so
like
fucking romantic.
Love at first sight, like very like,
Yeah, what the heck?
So they are about to celebrate their 50th anniversary in, I think, 2 years.
That's wild.
And so we're planning a little trip. We're just going to go to an outer island. Anyway,
that's cute.
Growing up.
Can we come? Wait.
Can we do? We'll put them on the podcast.
Yeah.
Growing up, I only saw my parents kiss a handful of times.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, I don't want that. I would like, and looking back, a lot of it was Pacific Islander culture, Samoan culture of no PDA.
Yeah.
And not kissing in front of the kids, that feeling like it was something that just isn't done. For me, however, growing up in America and watching rom-coms and seeing that kind of love, thinking that's what it's supposed to look like, and why don't my parents have something like that?
Yeah.
Now that I'm older, I look at what my parents have, and what I put value in when I was younger has now changed for the reason I can see what my parents have. And they have a few characteristics that I now look for in relationships. One, they both really respect each other.
Yeah.
So even when they've gotten into tiffs, at the end of the day, they both think the other person is just the greatest person.
Yeah.
My mom talks about my dad like he's just brilliant and so wise and so grounded. My dad talks about my mom like she's so smart and capable and just like superwoman. They balance each other well. They both have very different personalities and different traits. My dad's very quiet, very creative. My mom is type A, just go-getter. My mom came from a family where she had seen fighting, and she's told me that she thought that that's how couples need to communicate. And so when they first got married, she would try to pick fights with my dad.
Yeah.
And my dad never saw fighting, and he doesn't want to fight. And so he would just not give anything back. And that would tick off my mom more.
Yeah, they'll interpret that as you don't give a fuck.
Right.
Yeah.
That my dad didn't care. How come he doesn't care
Yeah.
more about X, Y, and Z? And my dad would think, this is silly. What are we doing? I love you. And so from the beginning and as time moved on, my mom came to see, that was how he was showing me love, was not fighting back with me. And we don't need to fight when we want to talk about something.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
And then they had 5 kids. There's 5 of us. I love that they had a big family because I'm the 5th one. Imagine if they stopped at 4. Family would have been so boring.
Oh God, I'm sure your family agrees.
But
With that.
I was totally a love baby. All of my siblings are 2 years apart, and then I'm 5 years after my closest sibling. And they already started late. My dad was maybe, what was he? I think he was 42
when he had you.
When they got
the first
married.
Yeah.
My mom was in her early 30s.
Wait, so when she was studying, did she study straight? Did she come to BYU straight out of high school then, or?
She went to BYU Provo, didn't like it.
Okay.
It was too much.
Yeah.
Did a study abroad in Spain. Came to BYU. Oh, this was another thing that helped. Came to BYU and then she traveled to Samoa to be a teacher and lived there for a while. That also is what helped. If we go into like interracial marriages and relationships,
the culture,
that really helped her appreciate Samoan culture and love Samoan culture and love that about my dad.
Yeah.
And then love that and encourage that with her children.
Yeah.
So like even going back to Samoa with my parents together, it was their first time ever in Samoa together last month. Super special to see that and to see them reconnect and bond over this shared
Oh shit, you about to
moment
have
of their
another
lives.
brother, sister.
Yeah. So in conclusion, my parents have this beautiful relationship and a beautiful family. The mind bender to me and something that I've been working through in my dating is the contrast between what I think it still should look like from media and what my parents actually have. It's so different. And I guess me being able to blend those and take the parts of their relationship that I really, really love and apply that in my dating and what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I've got a question. Have you ever talked to your mom and has she expressed that she wanted to be more affectionate, with your dad in front of the kids or see, this is where I'm like, but she understood the culture, so maybe she already anticipated that, this is not something so I guess that's my question.
Funny you asked that. I've talked to my mom about this specifically, and I've explained all of this and how my thoughts towards dating were skewed because I watched their relationship and that was something I didn't want.
Yeah.
I could never talk about this with my dad. Now I can. He's gotten better at going back and forth.
Yeah.
When I was younger, he wasn't a great communicator.
Yeah.
Anyway, my mom says, we were always having sex.
Yeah,
I mean, very clearly,
I was like,
kids.
That's not,
really?
I was gonna say they have 5 kids.
Yeah. What are you talking
I
about?
mean,
I was like,
come on.
it blew my mind though.
Yeah.
Because of what I was seeing.
Yeah.
There wasn't the cute hugs and touches and kissing and that kind of what I interpret as romance.
Yeah.
Right.
That wasn't seen at all in the house.
But did she want to express herself that way with your dad is what I'm asking.
I think she was okay with it.
Yeah. Okay.
She was okay with it.
So it's more out of respect for your dad and just the cultural norms of Samoan families, right?
Yeah. And she knew that she was loved.
Mm-hmm.
I think if she didn't feel loved because there was the lack of the touches and the embraces, all that, then she probably would have said something to my dad. But from my conversation with her, it seemed like she was on board with how he wanted to.
She was getting her fix the way she
fine.
needed. Yeah.
She's like, it was none of your business, Michael.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That's between me and your father. That's what she said to you.
Sorry about it.
And the
My
5
bad,
kids
Mom.
we
Yeah,
done
she's
popped out.
5 kids.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
she's fine.
That's how was
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah.
I think she's getting her.
What about
hers, yeah.
your parents' love story?
Is there a love story? No. So my parents. So my dad was born in Samoa.
Mm-hmm.
Both my parents were born in Samoa. Sorry, my mom came when she was. They were both born in 1951. So
Okay, cute.
they're born the same year, both on the 16th. Like my dad's May 16th, my mom's August 16th.
Cute.
It's Janet Jackson and Madonna's birthdays, by the way. And that's how they had me. But basically, yeah, my mom came in 1953, so she was only a baby. So she was practically raised in New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
My dad came as a scholarship student
Mm-hmm.
at the end of his high school. So he did his last year of high school in a little white private school in the South Island, which is all white people.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, his experience was very different to my mother's as far as coming to New Zealand. Both involved a lot of assimilation.
Mm-hmm.
And so they met at a fucking siva, like
Oh,
a siva
cute.
being like a little disco dance
Yeah.
thing. And you know, they were like 2021. And my dad, so my mom is what you'd call conventionally attractive, right? She was very much you know, she looked like a beauty queen, whatever. And you know, what people consider just
Beautiful.
when I say conventionally attractive, I'm talking about she was very much the trophy wife as far as light skin, fine featured,
Yeah,
you know, however you want to call that. Very problematic, you know, ways to uplift somebody's looks.
Right.
But that's how my mom presents. Very skinny frame, very athletic. And then my dad's like the opposite of that. Like my dad's not terribly handsome or anything. I'm not saying he's ugly. But my dad was an accountant too. So just
A nerd.
Just very, very nerdy, very boring as well. But one thing that I do get from my dad is my dad can dance his ass off. And so he dazzled my mom through dancing.
He peacocked.
Yeah, exactly. And so
That's cute.
that's pretty much how they hooked up. And I don't think my mom's parents, they were very very superficial, very vain as far as, you know, very particular about who they wanted their children to marry or whatever. But I think they were good with my dad because he was educated and, you know, and was making money and having and, you know, he had a job. My mom got pregnant. She did not want to get married. But she did anyway because that was just the generation, right? We're talking about the 60s. And so, and she's very candid about this with me. She's always been like, yeah, I was like, what the hell am I doing? I did not want to get married, but basically my grandma was like, you are Catholic. My daughter is not about to be out here having no bastard children. Like, you are getting married. So my parents got married, had my sister in 1974, had my brother 5 years later in 1979, and then me in 1984. So my mom spread us out like 5 years apart. By the time she had me, so my dad, I love my dad. He passed away when I was 18, and I've come to humanize him in so many ways because I was just like, oh my God, he was the shittiest father. And to be clear, my dad was not a good dad, but he was a good man. Like, and so I've come to accept that, you know, some people just aren't meant to be parents. And I think with my dad, I think it goes back to like this idea of what it means to be a man, and it's to have a wife and have kids. Yeah. Now, does that mean to be a good, a good husband and to be a good father? Not necessarily. I don't think those were things he was prioritizing in his mind. Yeah. But anyway, by the time I came along, my mom was like, I'm raising these kids by myself anyway. My dad always showed up financially, but she was like, there's no real reason for him to be here. So my mom ended up kicking him out. He was still around the corner. He still lived in our city, and he would come over regularly, like too much in my opinion. I was just like, what is he doing here? Like, go to your house. Like, why are you? Yeah. I was your dad. Like, yes, you don't want to see the way I used to talk to my dad. Like, and I had to actually grapple with that when my dad died. Like, I was such a shit to my dad. But I've come to forgive myself for a lot of things. And again, like, even though my dad passed, I've reached a place in our relationship where I can really appreciate him for who he was and again, humanize him. Because I think, I know for myself, I've villainized my dad while putting my mom on a pedestal, and it's like, neither is good, you know? And so
I've
it's like,
had to go through that. Yeah. My mom's a beautiful person. Right. But like,
we're all human.
Sometimes it's like, she'll be like, the good things about you are me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys are both humans.
Right.
And, you know, like you were doing the best you could. That's like
Yeah.
such an adult, like therapy reckoning
Yeah.
thing to go through. Cause I did that with my mom and my dad.
And that's where I met with my dad. Like, you know, he was doing the best that he could. And I wish I can't have these conversations with him now.
Yeah.
But I wish I was able to be like, oh, what was it like for you to come to New Zealand and be at this rich white boarding school where you could barely, you know, well, you could speak English, but it was very much your second language. And my dad had a disability, right? He was blind in one eye from working on the plantations in Samoa as a kid. Like my uncle, he had a sapelu or a machete, and like,
oh damn,
my dad was behind him, stabbed him in the eye. So my dad's like contending with that. And, you know, fucking rich white kids are not friendly. So I can only imagine what my dad went through. And so I can't have that conversation with him. But again, it makes me have a lot more compassion for why he wasn't as boisterous or rambunctious as I am, or my mum is, or, you know, so it kind of explains a lot. So that's why I always encourage people, like, have these conversations with your parents, because once they're gone, you can't have them anymore, you know?
Right.
But anyway, all that is to say, the way I interpreted love, I did not see my parents affectionate at all. I was 5 when they split up, so I didn't get to experience them the way my brother and sister did. But I know for a fact my dad was not affectionate. Like, he wasn't the type to hug and kiss, whereas my mum was. And so a lot of the way that I internalize love and how I interpret it is through physical touch. And so
that's your love language.
Oh, that's my fucking huge
That's your
thing.
love language.
Physical touch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
One of them. Yeah.
There's one of, like, what would you say is your primary one, though?
Yeah, I'd say physical touch is primary, and then quality time.
Oh, yeah. For me too. Like, I think for me, definitely physical touch, especially because, like, my mom, like, spoiled me with, like, just hugs and kisses, and like, I slept with my mom for, like, until I was, like, fucking 12, 13 years old. Yeah, so I was that Samoan kid who fucking was in the same bed as my parent because I was the baby. And so for me, like, oh my gosh, the one boyfriend that I have had, he does not like being hugged. And so like in bed, when I'd go to hug him and he'd be like shaking me off, and I would fucking be like punch him in the back. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and he was like, I don't like it. Even as a kid, like when my mom would try to hug me, I didn't like it. And I was like, I would fucking internalize that as rejection so bad. And I was like, I remember getting so fucking worked up. But yeah, that's a big thing for me is I need to have someone who like likes to cuddle and kiss and all that shit. And then going back to quality time, I think again being spoiled. I wasn't spoiled with like material shit, but like definitely spoiled by all the women in my life with a lot of like
affection,
fussing over me. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you're the baby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Same. I get that. I got to spend a ton of time with my mom, especially because I'm so much younger than my siblings.
Yeah.
And we just had so many conversations, and she'd answer all my little questions. And she was amazing.
And then you have like older sisters that were they like second moms?
Totally.
To you? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Where I'm the eldest daughter having to deal with the 2 youngest boys here. Driving me
and you
nuts.
love it.
No, I love it.
I have one story about my mom just because total badass. So when we were younger, we were really, really poor. My dad was a struggling artist, and we were on welfare, and my mom we were drinking powdered milk, and my mom was taking us to pick fruit and all that stuff, and sewing all of our own clothes, making our own bread, everything. She was struggling. My mom also comes from a very wealthy family. So she's coming from this totally different life, marries my dad, starts having children with him, and is living something that she's never experienced before, and just pulls up her sleeves and is doing her best to raise her children in the best way she can and give us a good life.
And you probably
I'll always respect my mom so much for that.
Yeah.
And you probably didn't
Super
even
one.
think about it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like when my mom was struggling the most, I was like, I felt like I never felt that stress or struggle because moms do that.
Oh no, I mean we could see that it was tough on my parents for sure, and there was strain on the marriage at that time for sure because there was so much poverty.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, the fact that they stayed together and they worked through that, incredible.
Sickness and health.
Mine's so different because my parents, they were both working professionals, and so we never wanted for anything. And
what did your mom do?
My mom worked in like government jobs, like her entire career.
Pension.
Yeah, exactly. But
Love that.
I think for me, because I would excel at school, and it wasn't until later I realized, oh, it's because I have two parents who, even though we lived in the hood,
Yeah.
because my dad wanted to live in community where our people were, but their income was like significantly higher than everyone else's, and you don't realize how that has real implications as far as like my successes at school and why I was able to achieve and go to university and get scholarships and stuff like that. So I think I took that for granted, but I have a very just whatever relationship when it comes to money. And it's not like, oh, fuck, I'm balling or anything, but I'm also like, I'm always okay with where I'm at. As long as my basics are covered, I actually don't want, I've never had these aspirations of being rich and having millions of dollars. I'm just like, I was happy with where I was growing up. Like we had money, we had a stable fucking home.
Same.
And as long as I have that, I'm good. I'm actually fine, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just thinking about being stranded in Vegas.
I know, but how neither one of us were like,
we don't have fucking money. How are we gonna get home?
We were like, when is this check coming in? Because my rent is due, and yet we're fucking balling at this.
We were letting go and letting God.
No, for real, and it all worked out.
We're like, Michael returned the rental car. This is cute.
How are we getting home?
Yeah, well.
Teal will help you. Fuck it, that's how I see us advice.
Never.
It's so funny that you brought up that story about your mum, because when I think of my mum being a badass, I think about how, my mum was holding it down as far as parenting goes, of course. But like one time my dad, because my dad was very sociable, right? He would go to the bar with his friends and drink and stuff. One time he didn't come home when he said he was going to. My mum drove down with her baby in the car, walked in front of all his friends, grabbed a fucking jug of beer and poured it on his head. It was like, you need to come the fuck home now. And she walked out and he came.
Yeah.
I was like, when most, like, especially their generation, most women, I would, like, especially Pacifica women, we're like in, like, abusive, like,
right, yeah,
domestic violence, right?
Yeah.
And my mom's out here fucking pouring beer over, like.
Get your ass home.
Exactly,
Yeah.
basically.
My mom's a badass in general. Like when you meet her, she's like bubbly and cute, and she'll make you the best meal and make you feel at home. And but also do not cross her.
Yeah.
She I've seen her many a time get her refund back or whatever.
That's
like
my mom.
Yeah. Or like just don't say anything. Well, it's funny. My mom she'll defend us, but if somebody comes up to her and is like, Tia did this, she'll be like, fuck, what did she do this time? So growing up, I was like, damn, you're never on my side. But she would like fight for us, and she has before.
Hold you accountable where
she's never the one. They're always like, oh God, what did Tia do this time?
Yeah.
They're not stupid. They're also very young, so yeah. My parents all our parents are cute and badass.
I know.
Cute.
I want to eat both at both your houses, because I'm sure both your moms can throw down.
My mom can throw down. She's the ultimate host, and then it's a party too.
Yeah,
she'll be like, "Yeah, I don't party, I don't drink." Yeah, she does.
My mom used to throw down. She reached a point. I think I was in middle school or high school. Everyone else is out the house. It's just me.
Yeah,
and she just said she didn't want to cook anymore.
Oh, that's fair enough. Good for her.
Yeah, because you probably fucking ate so much.
5 kids? Come on now. Cooking for that fucking many people?
And she was doing bread every single day. And
hell no.
She was
cooking
making
bread?
everything from scratch for that long. And so she was just...
I made bread this morning. You didn't even eat it.
You know what? No comment.
You're right.
Yeah.
No fucking comment. Anyway, we will save our Ho Whisperer segment for the next episode, because I feel like we needed this time to just really get to understand each other and where we came from and why we think of love the way we do, right? I think it's really important to understand that, because sometimes it's like, oh, what we saw was not actually love, or there are other ways to understand love. And then when we deal with each other, it's like, how do we make sure that our understanding of love lands on them, and I think that helps us communicate as co-hosts.
Yeah, for sure.
And then as, people dating and experiencing other people or peoples and in the scene. So yeah, any final words?
No, I loved that.
Yeah,
that was cute.
That's wholesome.
Wholesome, yeah.
Thanks,
Look at
guys.
us being wholesome.
Look at us being wholesome. All
Yeah.
right, fam. Well, on that wholesome note, bye, hoes. We'll see you next time.
Bye.